Oleg worked here. He is 84 and Oleg worked here to a dozen beautiful horses, spent most of his life training horses. He was here when it all ended. He watched them burn alive when it all ended. He watched them burn alive.
There was a mayor there with her foal. He was born on the 25th of March. Such a wonderful little thing. So friendly. They launched an incendiary bomb. It blew up in the air and set fire to the entire...
...in the village of Metolkina, Oleg and another elder.
They shelled...
Oleg and another elder.
They shelled both ends of the stable, and then they launched incendiary bombs. If it weren't for them, the stable wouldn't have burned.
They could only listen to the cries of burning animals. In a conflict that is filled with tragedy and suffering, detail learned what happened here 5 months later. We learned what happened here. Horses burned alive, 12 of them together. The Ukrainian media, 12 of them together. The Ukrainian media, Ukrainian military came out and said, look what the Russians have done. We've now learned that what happened here was very different from what the Ukrainians said. And this particular store trapped her, well known for how friendly she was.
I loved being around them. My horse, or rather the one my heart lay with, was Omega. She was the first to die. My heart lay with was Omega.
Before the fighting here began, but she remembers the threats very clearly.
Back when I was still here, Ukrainian nationalists visited, burned the stable, so the Russians wouldn't get them. He was in Lugansk, in the Russian-controlled area. He was trying to get the horses out. He was pro-Russian.
In the immediate aftermath of the attack, Ukrainian media blamed the Russian forces for the fire. They lied, tell us locals, standing amongst the skeletal remains. They promised...
The first horse was killed on the 11th of June in shelling. It isn't clear who fired, the Ukrainian military or Ukrainian nationalists. But the fact is, it was Ukrainian military or Ukrainian nationalists. But the fact is, it was Ukrainians who fired. They had positions all around the village.
Of course it was on purpose. Before the fighting, the Ukrainian nationalist Beletsky was here. He walked around then. I don't know what I would have done, but I didn't think Beletsky was such on the grounds. If only I had a gun back then, I don't know what I would have done, but I didn't think Beletsky was such
He founded several nationalist and neo-Nazi movements and battalions. Burning stables is not the worst they've done. His following stables is not the worst and battalions. Burners are behind countless acts of savagery. In Metolkina, like elsewhere, people will not soon forget what happened.
Weren't theirs, then no one would have them. It isn't for nothing that they call them nationalists. Weren't theirs, then no one would have them. It isn't for nothing that they call them nationalists. Nazis. The Germans.
Look at their shelling of Donetsk now, at people's homes, bus stops, crowds, civilians, children.
Despite everything, the fighting, the uncertainty. Locals have not given up. The owner, as well as Oleg and Vladimir, have begun to rebuild. 3 elderly men for a new generation of horses. Murat Gazdiev, RT, from Metolkina.